4 theme parks, 2 holiday parties, 2 Magic Band scavenger hunts, 7 nighttime spectaculars, dozens of meet and greets, 50 statues of iconic Disney characters, a mile-long checklist of various attractions, and hundreds of hours of standing in lines around property. All culminating into a fantastic journey to find some of the newest hidden details around Walt Disney World. Hi, hello, hi, welcome to Stormwind Adventures, where I have finally reached the point where I can discuss the MagicBand Plus in its entirety at Walt Disney World. This means a full list of every stage show, ride, nighttime fireworks spectacular, Fab 50 statue, and basically anything else where I could get a sensor to ping my band. Now, I'm fully aware that the Disneyland Resort in California, as well as the Disney Wish and the Disney Fantasy, have their own MagicBand Plus functionality, and eventually I will be doing videos on those as well. Today though, I want to focus on the original source for the MagicBand Plus, Walt Disney World. So let's get started. The MagicBand Plus released at Walt Disney World on July 27th, 2022, and has since then been given more usage, including the improvement of being able to be added to your account through your phone's NFC reader. I will go ahead and say that the water parks only have some general functionality, meaning that when you tap into a park or a lightning lane, your band is supposed to vibrate and glow with a confirmation circle. This isn't much, but trust me, I wouldn't be making this list if that had been the highlight. However, if your band happens to not be charged for whatever reason, you can still use it as your park ticket, just like one of the older Magic Bands. It should also be noted that, at least when I went through, none of the character meet and greets had MagicBand Plus functionality, except for the Lightning Lane touchpoints. The lack of unique functionality was also the case for almost every stage show, including the morning welcome announcement at Magic Kingdom.
Well, hi everybody! Good morning! Gosh, it sure is great to see so many amazing friends!
It certainly is! Oh, I have a feeling today is going to be the best day ever!
While they don't have as generalized of functionality, the Fab 50 statues are very unevenly spread out among the 4 theme parks, and I'll break those numbers down during each section. However, this was definitely what it felt like Disney was focused on when marketing the new bands. Basically, when your band vibrates and starts having a white circle, you can interact with the statue you are walking near. During Christmas time and the later Halloween season, as Halloween starts in August for Disney World, these statues will actually have holiday-based greetings instead of their regular ones. Regardless of which statue is talking or which season, your MagicBand Plus will light up with a pseudo-rainbow effect. Speaking of more dazzling effects, when you are updating your MagicBand Plus, you will see what I refer to as Bop It mode, where you have red, blue, green, and yellow all circle around your MagicBand face while it is waiting for the update to finish. Before we get into the parks, I would like to mention that the rarest MagicBand Plus theme is the Disney Plus Day theme. As of this recording, it has only been available for one day, September 8th, 2022. While the various MagicBand Plus designs can have their own unique themes, and some aren't available anymore, those were still available for much longer than a single day. It should come back annually, but there doesn't seem to be a consistent date for Disney Plus Day, so your ability to get it is definitely dependent on remembering to update your theme when it's available. Due to being the least technological focused park, Disney's Animal Kingdom actually made for a great first stopping point on this adventure. Including the general functionality I mentioned a moment ago, there are only 8 unique things that you can do with your MagicBand, and only 5 if you don't count the statues individually. This will be a repeating pattern, but despite Deck only having 4 statues, there are actually 7 characters counted for the Fab 50. Nemo and Dory represent the Finding Nemo, the Big, Blue, and Beyond stage show, though the statue could easily have fit into Epcot due to Nemo being the focus of the Seas Pavilion. With Lion King being a main draw of Animal Kingdom, it isn't a surprise that the main trio is front and center, with Timon riding Pumbaa, and Simba being next to them. Due to how these buddy statues work, you will usually have a band activate both statues if you manage to get one. The last statue at DAC is Bambi and Thumper because, well, they're animals and they represent a classic Disney film. While it wasn't working when I went through, the posters in the last room of the Everest queue will actually read your MagicBand and put your name as one of the comments. This isn't actually exclusive to the MagicBand Plus, but I felt it was necessary to mention. The last piece of MagicBand Plus functionality in Disney's Animal Kingdom is at Flight of Passage. This is actually not the lost functionality that I will have a whole different video about, but rather a MagicBand Plus ping right after the engineering offices and the Flight of Passage exit. Seriously, I spent the whole day exploring anything that could possibly count. This was the only ride that actually had anything. This was a good day though. I got to ride everything in exactly 6 hours without using Genie Plus or individual Lightning Lane. It'll be the only time the parks were that generous to me for the next month of searching.
Nothing can stop us now. We're gonna make it happen.
Despite having two of the strongest brands under Disney featured at the park, the MagicBand Plus is only used uniquely 13 times, with 7 of those being statues. With Jollywood Nights happening in November, they might have to step up the MagicBand Plus functionality, but for now, Toy Story Land and Galaxy's Edge, as well as the other Star Wars locations around the park, do not have any functionality for their rides or other attractions. In fact, the Far Side of Studios only has 2 pieces of functionality. The first is Galactic Bounty Hunter, which is a 20-level scavenger hunt that runs basically until the park closes. If you've never done it, it is very much just helpful to know where all the doors around Galaxy's Edge are, as each bounty will hide in one of them. Your band will glow green when you're heading towards the right door, will glow red when you are at the wrong door, and will glow purple when you need to activate the game on your Play Disney app. When you find the bounty, you return to the guild and scan your band into the door to get your credits. The second may not be a surprise depending on which thumbnail I ended up using, but as you exit the Muppets Theater, your MagicBand Plus will light up with a full rainbow effect. Making our way back to the center of the park, the 7 statues are in a loose semicircle from the Dockside Diner on Echo Lake to the Hollywood Brown Derby. Working in that same direction, we have BB-8 and R2-D2 as the Star Wars representation. On the other side of that garden, you can find Edna Mode and Frozone repping Pixar Place. As you head towards the animation courtyard, Woody and Bo Peep can be found representing Toy Story Land, Flounder and Sebastian representing the potentially defunct Voyage of the Little Mermaid stage show, and then Joe Gardner from Soul can be found next to the Hollywood Brown Derby. Joe is actually the most recent character used for any of the Fab 50 statues. Also in the main courtyard is Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which activates the MagicBand Plus as you are leaving through the exit. Heading down Sunset Boulevard, you can find the remaining functionality. Rock 'n' Roller Coaster starts pinging your band as you reach the end of the ride and continues pinging it until you reach the exit at the gift shop. Or in my case, it continues until I get all the way over to Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy. Rockin' also should have functionality coming back in the queues for the posters. This previously showed guest names, but like Everest, it is not currently working. At the Tower of Terror, you will once again get pinged as you leave the ride. The last thing I found at Studios was the full show of Fantasmic, which I previously uploaded with the MagicBand Plus functionality. Strangely, neither the live-action or animation showcases done near the park close have any sort of functionality. With the return of Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam for Jollywood Nights, it will be interesting to see if these are updated with any sensors that might be implemented for the holidays. One little spark of imagination apparently led to Epcot having the second most functionality for the MagicBand Plus. Unfortunately, it doesn't include DuckTales World Showcase, which opened in December. However, in the last year, it has included 6 statues, 2 nighttime spectaculars, and several rides. Starting at the main park entrance, the Epcot Ball will activate your Magic Band during nighttime light shows on the park icon. World Nature and World Celebration don't have any functionality. Trust me, I thought Moana would at least have something, but it might when it fully opens next month. Heading into World Discovery, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind joins the growing list of rides that ping you at the end. This one feels easy to miss since there's 2 sets of stairs on your way out. Much like Everest and Rockin', Mission Space used to have functionality which would activate as you were leaving the ride. Unlike the other 2 rides, there isn't really a B show for these screens now, just the logo for the fake company of the ride. Test Track, however, still uses the Magic Band to store car data for you to use at the various spots around the ride. This is still not Magic Band Plus exclusive, but it is something for the newer parkgoers to know. Moving toward World Showcase, the first statue is the beloved Figment hanging out on his lonesome. The other characters are at the center of the entrance to World Showcase, with Coco's Dante and Miguel having a pair of statues. Then Rocket and Groot, Olaf and Bruni, and Pooh and Heihei. All 9 characters have the same statue functionality, but with various musical tunes, or quotes, being played from their origins. The first stop around the world is Mexico, where we once again had Magic Band functionality that was already active when the Magic Band Plus released. While not exclusive, it is a fun little Coco experience where you get to build your own character and then get them sent to your PhotoPass afterwards. Moving beyond Mexico, the first ride with functionality in the showcase is Frozen Ever After. Your Magic Band Plus will ping when Elsa is singing Let It Go at the climax of the ride. As you're leaving the ride, you can be picked up by the scanners at the exit, allowing it to light up with a snow-colored design. This also might happen if you're standing close enough to the wall in the standby queue, but I've only heard of that. The last attraction with any functionality is Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. It's basically the French flag, but it doesn't show up very well on camera. As with Hollywood Studios, Epcot has the Magic Band Plus glow with the nighttime spectacular that is running on whatever night you visit the park. Unlike Fantasmic, Harmonious would run the Magic Band Plus for basically the whole show. This would continue with Epcot Forever, which barely has any downtime for the band. If you would like to see that, I do have a video of it on my channel. With Luminous being announced at Destination D23, I would expect it to follow suit, but we will know for sure in December.
There's a great big beautiful tomorrow, just a dream of...
This was quite possibly the most difficult of all the parks to find everything for the Magic Band Plus. Since the band released, there have been 19 statues, 4 rides, 4 nighttime spectaculars, and a scavenger hunt that will properly work with the band. Now that does sound like not a lot, except for the statues, considering this is the main icon of the Walt Disney World Resort. But I assure you, I was very thorough. That includes the morning announcements, the Liberty Bell that ferries around Frontierland, Dumbo, Aladdin, and Astro Orbiter, Space Mountain, Thunder Mountain, Pirates of the Caribbean, the Royal Carousel, the Princess Hall, and many other attractions that didn't have anything. So what rides do actually have functionality? Haunted Mansion has got to have the least consistent of the functionality, even though it is probably the only ride that people would be aware has functionality at all. Inside of the queue after the stretching room, your Magic Band Plus will start lighting up red and beat rhythmically like a heart. This can happen again in the attic, though I've only had it 1 of my 3 attempts lately. And finally, it happens as you are getting out of the Doom Buggies at the end of the ride. Heading into Fantasyland, you can find one of the first rides to have any Magic Band functionality. It's a Small World. In the last room of Small World, you can find 4 screens that will read the name from any magic bands in the vicinity of the scanners. As with the previously mentioned screens, this is also not exclusive to the MagicBand Plus. This did come back just a few weeks ago, as it was down like the other 3 attractions. The hardest to get was Tron Life Cycle Run, as it opened after the MagicBand Plus released. However, the functionality didn't start during the previews, so I wasn't prepared for the band to join in on the countdown, so I don't actually have footage of that. However, I did find out that the exit now does have its own functionality, when it definitely didn't when I started gathering footage. Tron's exit might be one of the coolest features, as you can see all 4 colors of the teams for the ride. Staying in Tomorrowland, you can also find functionality on Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin, my personal favorite ride. When it works, you will be pinged as your ride starts to move through the first room after loading. While not actually part of the attraction, you can be pinged in the queue of Monster Inc. Laugh Floor if you are standing in the right spot, since Stitch is on the outside wall for the queue. Stitch is also the only statue in Tomorrowland. You can also find Cheshire Cat and Mad Hatter as you are leaving Tomorrowland in the direction of Fantasyland. Back near the center of Fantasyland, you can find Pinocchio by himself and then a combination statue of Lemire and Cogsworth. Adventureland has Orangebird chilling near the guest experience umbrella, and then a Boo hanging from the rafters as you enter the area from the hub. You can find Piglet and Winnie the Pooh Bear hugging as you head back towards the center of the hub. Working outside in, the next statue is Tinkerbell, who is hidden above the normal guest line of sight in the trees before you start heading into Liberty Square. The next duo is Jock Jock and Gus, who are carrying their medallion like a cheese wheel. Not far from them, you can find Timothy Mouse and Dumbo. Before we go into the center of the hub, let's not forget about Lady and the Tramp, who are at the front of the park, across from the stairs to this train station. Facing the castle and going clockwise, you can find Chip and Dale, then Donald and Daisy, Goofy and Pluto, and then finally Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse with a plaque commemorating the cast members past, present, and future. I will go ahead and say that these are easiest to snag when you are not competing with people being in line for PhotoPass. These statues do seem to potentially interfere with the connectivity to the Nighttime Spectaculars, but I don't have a way to confirm that, as it didn't happen consistently. So what about the MagicBand scavenger hunt I mentioned a few moments ago? Well, that is none other than a Pirate's Adventure Treasure of the Seven Seas. Similar to some of the rides, this functionality existed prior to the MagicBand Plus and has been integrated into its lineup. This is one of the few things you can do with your band if it happens to die while you are in the park. I do recommend doing this at least once, as you get a little commemorative card for completing one of the adventures. Now, as for the grand finale, the first of the fireworks shows to have MagicBand Plus functionality was Enchantment, which lasted until the end of the 50th anniversary when Happily Ever After returned. However, Happily Ever After is actually the 4th show to cause the MagicBand Plus to light up, as both Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party and Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party had functionality during their specific shows. Magic Kingdom shows are different though, as during the 10-minute and 5-minute announcements prior to the show, your band will start glowing. This is cool, but I don't feel like anyone seemed to notice their bands glowing when I was there for Happily Ever After. Considering all the shows, I feel like Epcot has done the best for the MagicBand Plus, but the worst for when trying to pay attention to the show. But that's why, moving forward, I will be continuing to record both the show and the MagicBand Plus so that it is easy to see both at the same time.
And so our journey comes to an end, but yours continues on.
There's definitely more to the MagicBand Plus than people realize, and it's only increasing as there was functionality added between when I started gathering footage for this video And when I went back to Tron, because I only have weekends to gather footage for it, and I missed it initially. As I mentioned at the start of this video, Disneyland and some of the cruise line ships have begun getting functionality as well, so I'm sure this is going to greatly increase the odds of more improvements. I'm certainly excited to see what the MagicBand Plus engineers are planning to add next, especially as it becomes the only MagicBand available for purchase across all Disney vacation destinations.